preparation of souls by the powers beyond. BD0550 from August 18, 1938, taken from book number 12. In the spiritual world, all beings mean the same. No soul is valued less, and therefore the endeavor to win it for eternity is always the same. For every soul is a part of God in its original substance and can therefore never be devalued. If an embodiment of the soul has now taken place on earth, then the soul will also want to participate in the transformation to the good to the same extent as the earthly body undergoes this task. The body and spirit have to work equally so that the soul will achieve the highest advantages through earthly life. And since every soul is equal before God, every soul will also be given the same opportunities to reach the highest state of maturity. I.e., not one soul will be given less consideration or be deprived of a field of activity which could help it to mature. And therefore every soul will have itself to blame if it does not reach the state of maturity, for it is then its own will or spiritual sluggishness which hindered it on the path to perfection. Where a soul seriously devotes itself to work, it can never again speak of being disadvantaged. It will be considered in the same way as all spiritual beings. Embodiment is granted to them as a favor, and so every soul can also develop immensely high in the time of embodiment, only it is up to it how it uses the time for eternity. If it allows itself to be guided into the spheres of its actual destiny, then it must also reach that perfect state which is characteristic of all spiritual beings in this sphere. It will hardly be able to do anything else but develop into a God-like being in every respect, because it has the awareness within itself of being a particle of the eternal deity itself. And such a God being which recognizes itself correctly must also be offered the greatest possible help by the spiritual beings, and therefore it will never be able to succumb, even if the resistance sometimes seems great. For the value of the soul remains unchanged. Everything that is God's remains unalterably the same, it does not lose value and therefore cannot be considered differently or less when it comes to achieving perfection. Only the kind of influence on the souls is different and must also be different, because every soul also has its own conception of the purpose of earthly existence. And as long as it has not yet recognized the pure truth, it has to be guided by external influences so that it begins to recognize. It has to be prepared for the reception of divine truths, and until this state is reached, many a soul needs a long time. Indeed, it often rejects everything at first and thereby makes the path of realization difficult for itself, and therefore many an earthly person has to fight a difficult inner battle before he is enlightened that every being is nevertheless destined by God to enter into union with Him, and that this can only happen if it is completely absorbed in its task which was given to it by the Divine Creator. Amen.